Hi, I'm Carol Ayala, and I'm in favor of SB 3 and 91. You're being told that an urgent need exists to help a community that suffers injustice and might resort to suicide or self-harm if their demands are not granted. You're being told that the suffering community is completely innocent, targeted because of irrational bigotry. But consider these things, as shared with me by Dr. Robert Oscar Lopez, a personal friend of mine, that in the 70s, these groups promised that once their sexuality was not a crime or stigmatized, they would flourish. Several years later, an AIDS epidemic broke out. By the early 90s, there was the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Then with its repeal, the gay activists promised that open gayness would pose no problems. But after the repeal in 2010, sexual assaults increased, especially same-sex assaults, as did the suicide rate. By the late 90s, we saw alarming eating disorders caused by gay men's unhealthy fixation on beauty standards, suicide, drug addiction, domestic violence, steroid abuse, depression, and anxiety. They claimed this wasn't the fault of gays, but of Christian bigotry. They said that all this could be solved with civil unions, which soon morphed into gay marriage, which then morphed into gay adoption, which then morphed into compulsory changes in school curriculum. And I should know because I was a teacher here in Austin for many years. And now we have many fines and penalties on people who have expressed opposition to gay marriage. And we have a climate for people that are considered to be anti-gay are suffering. You have to pass this bill because the gay movement is pushing transgender policies in schools and municipalities and will advance quickly absent resistance. Not passing the statewide law preserving normal bathroom policy is the same as a green light for them to force transgenderism into millions of Texans who don't want their daughters' private spaces invaded by this, not because they're bigots, but because they have common sense.
Thank you. My name is Jennifer Delgado. I'm a mom of 3, and I'm speaking in favor of SB 3 and SB 91. I have a good friend named David Pickup. He's a licensed psychotherapist with private practices in Dallas and Los Angeles, and who can be found at davidpickuplmft.com. He works primarily with men who experience gender dysphoria, gender inferiority issues, and emotional abandonment from childhood. Do you know what it's like to feel deeply confused from a young age that your body is one sex, but you feel like another? Do you know what it's like to feel depressed, suicidal, discouraged, and detached from your own body and from the people who are supposed to love and affirm you? David's clients do, and his results have shown that therapy can resolve these issues. According to David, and with no disrespect meant, allowing biological males in women's restrooms is tantamount to abuse, and this would apply to children as well. It's abuse to those people who are many times not aware of their own deep emotional issues, and to those for whom this is an issue of safety. Not passing this bill would be unconsciously participating in dysfunction. Statistically, most dysphorics resolve their gender dysphoria diagnosis by their 20s. Why do LGBT activists not offer funds for therapy that works to resolve these issues rather than fight for a political agenda that has no basis in fact? Denial of truth is never therapeutic. Perpetuating a fundamental untruth is never compassionate or politically mandated. Safety in bathrooms is a real issue. It's an issue of emotional and physical safety for all concerned, even those who don't know it. There are men, not usually transgenders, who would take advantage of girls and women in locker rooms and bathrooms if given opportunity to do so. Take the road of compassion, health, and safety. Pass the Texas Privacy Act. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have, sticking together, Glenna Hodge.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Thank you for having me. My name is Glenna Hodge, and I, representing myself, am testifying in support of both of these pieces of legislation. Senator Rodriguez asked us why we need this legislation now, and I would submit that we need it because the future of public education in Texas is on the line. We know from last session that every single public education institution registered in opposition to Senate Bill 6, which means that they are in favor of opposite-sex children and sharing intimate spaces in public schools. And so parents should recognize that right now their children have no expectation of privacy in a public school, and we know from the Dripping Springs and Fort Worth ISD issue that the school boards are not always very transparent about what their policies are. We also know that schools in Austin Independent School District are teaching children as young as 4 years old that their gender is fluid, that they're not a boy or a girl, and they can choose whichever gender they want, and that teachers are required to use the non-gender specific pronouns in schools. If we believe that school teachers are good at what they do, then we can expect many more children to want to go in the other bathroom because they've been told they can and they should if they want to. Reference has been made to suicide if these bills pass, and I've provided some written materials prepared by Dr. Michelle Cretella, the president of the American College of Pediatricians, which speaks to that issue of suicide in the transgender community. Hope that that will be helpful to you as you consider all of this. I believe that without legislative intervention to protect the privacy of children in the schools, that we may indeed witness the death of public education, as parents will look everywhere that they can for an educational environment where their children's privacy is protected and respected. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Zachary.
Thank you. What impact would this bill have on students who are transgender and on the schools that they attend? Specifically, if these two bills pass, how will the schools and these children be impacted?
The schools, how will the schools be impacted?
Yes, and the children.
Well, the schools are not allowed then to force children who don't want to shower or dress with somebody of the opposite sex to be protected. So that, in other words, their children cannot be forced to do something that they don't want to do, the larger majority of the children. It seems to me that schools can still make accommodation for the children if that's acceptable to the transgender children, but apparently it's not. I think that the movement wants for the transgender children to be able to shower and change with all the other children. The person with the confusion wants to go where they think they belong. And that exposure to the anatomy, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's okay when you're 6 or 7. I'm not sure how it works out when you're 13 or 14 or 15, you know, in public school. And so what this bill does is to say you don't have to you're not going to subject children to having to shower with people of the opposite sex. And to me, how that impacts transgender children, it says that the school can make accommodation just the way that they are now. And what we hope that, and I hope that the legislature will look at this issue of schools actually encouraging gender confusion so that we don't see the growing number of children who believe they ought to be able to go in the opposite bathroom.
Can you give us examples of any school officials or schools that you believe are really promoting gender confusion?
In Austin Independent School District, I want to say Kiker Elementary was one of those. I'm trying to think, which one was it? Odom Elementary was one of them. They are using the Human Rights Campaign's Welcoming Schools curriculum to address a required anti-bullying provision in the education code. And what it acts more as a human sexuality course, but parents are not required to be notified about the teaching of it because it doesn't qualify as sex education, or they don't consider it that. And so there was extensive research done by a woman named Cindy Asmussen and Carol Ayala, who was here just before, because Carol was required by her principal to train in that module and then to teach children, and she was a pre-K teacher, that their gender is fluid. And so, and it goes on to affirm other confusing, I guess, ideologies, philosophies, and did in fact require the teachers to refrain from using gender-specific pronouns. And so some of the moms that have been concerned about it, and the teachers have been trying to raise awareness, did an open records request at AISD and did get quite a few materials to show that the Human Rights Campaign considers the Austin Independent School District to be an ambassador for the movement. And so we have a map that shows exactly which schools in the district use the Welcoming Schools curriculum.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Just very quickly, Madam Chair, just wanted to clarify, are you a pediatrician yourself?
I am not.
So this handout that you gave us is from the American College of Pediatricians, Gainesville, Florida. Does that mean the college is actually in Florida, or this is the American College Pediatricians Association of Florida? I'm trying to figure out just who wrote this.
Dr. Michelle Cretella, you can see there's a byline, the narrative of gender identity experts defy science and threatens all children.
So she's the president of the group in Florida?
Yes, and she prepared this paper.
Right. Do you have a statement or something prepared by the group in Texas?
I don't know that the group exists in Texas, frankly. I think this is the branch, but I don't know. I do not have anything for the Texas.
Do you know if the American College of Pediatricians nationally has taken a position on this?
I believe that's right. She's a president of the national organization, as I understand it.
But it's located in Florida.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify who this handout was from, because it's a little confusing. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Ms. Armke.
Yes, before I start, could I pass out my...
Yes, Ms. Mayor, please.
Okay, it's already started. Thank you, Senators. My name is Sharon Armke. I support the Texas Privacy Act, SB 3, and SB 91. Biological sex is hardwired at fertilization and cannot be changed, whereas gender identity is not hardwired and can change. Little children are at risk because the radical left LGBTQ sex education programs are using the excuse of bathroom and shower access to actually promote gender confusion. Programs such as Austin ISD's Welcoming Schools teach little children that some boys are actually girls with male body parts and vice versa. They are lying to children. This is child abuse. A little boy I know of personally was 4 years old when his baby sister was born. At that time, he felt that the baby sister was getting all the mother's love and attention. He told his mother he wanted to be a girl, in the same way that another child might say, I want to be the baby. That was his cry, in my opinion, for his mother's love and affirmation. But she did not affirm that she was glad he was a little boy, because she herself is a victim of the radical LGBTQ agenda. She began to grow his hair long and dress him as a girl. She also demanded that the public school let him use the girls' restroom. He is now in 3rd grade. He will most likely not be allowed to go through natural puberty. Puberty blockers will likely be given to him, and then he will be permanently sterilized. Not only is he in physical danger of castration, all his classmates are now being brainwashed to believe that biological reality does not exist. The loving, compassionate response to a child with mistaken beliefs about his or her body is not to lie to them, but to lovingly and nurture them through puberty and into late adolescence. Research clearly shows that 75 to 98% of these children with gender dysphoria will embrace their biological package if allowed to go through natural puberty. It should be against the law to permanently sterilize children and refuse to allow them to go through natural puberty. Please protect our children's minds and bodies. Protect them. Pass the Texas Privacy Act.